With every episode of Economic War Room, we attempt to foresee problems, counter them, and offer practical solutions. Whether it's money or housing or energy, the border, inflation, the China threat, jihadis, ESG, woke corporations, World Economic Forum mandates, investing, space, artificial intelligence, education, the Great Reset. We've covered all of these and so much more. But not just problems. You know, too many programs just have talking heads and here's the problem and here's the latest outrage today. No, we don't do that. We like to offer actionable solutions, whether at the personal level or in your community or your state or our nation. We think of ourselves as a solutions to action tank. Yeah, we identify the problems. That's the bad. And then we come up with solutions. That's the good. And then we talk about if we work together, how can we bring a beautiful future for ourselves and our families? With every episode, we produce an economic battle plan. And we've got 5 years worth of those now. We're approaching 300 episodes. And we've covered big names like Dr. Ben Carson, Michelle Bachmann, Frank Gaffney, Glenn Beck, Nigel Farage. Sometimes we bring yet to be discovered solutions and people who aren't yet famous, but are solving real problems. And that's the case with our show today. And the topic is one near and dear to all of us. In fact, life doesn't exist without it. Over the long history of humanity, this is the #1 economic weapon, and it was the first economic weapon ever used. Empires have been toppled over this topic. People have been enslaved because of it. This is perhaps the most basic of human needs, and thus personal vulnerabilities. And it is one of the major weapons in the arsenal of liberty's enemies, both foreign and domestic. I'm talking about food and food insecurity. You know, Esau sold his birthright for this. Joseph saved the world and then he enslaved a nation with it. People have killed for it and started wars over it. Even the Arab Spring was the result of food insecurity. In fact, there's a lot of academic papers. If you look back, there's one here, ScienceDirect.com. It's a scientific paper who talks about how food insecurity led to the Arab Spring, where we saw so much change in the Middle East. If there are massive food shortages or famines, we'll have war. There's no doubt about that. Wars throughout history have been fought over food, and there will be wars in the future fought over it. But it goes beyond that. A manipulation of the food supply can be used to control people as well. Just over the past year or so, we've seen some very strange things happen in regard to food. And America may be the most overfed country in the history of the world. But food used to be a local product. It's now become big international business. Family farms are disappearing. That's true because of the tax code, but also the nature of conglomerates, technology, and lawfare. From a tax code standpoint, when the original farmer dies and passes it on to the next generation, that may be over the tax limit, and so they have to either be a very small farm or they're going to have to sell off their farm just to cover the cost of the taxes. And then there are conglomerates ready to snap up any available land. In fact, just before we came here, I got a letter from my father, had owned some property in Oklahoma, and a big conglomerate wants to buy it up. They made us a lowball offer, in my opinion, but they just like, oh, you have land, you might need money, here, we offer you cash for that. And you don't know, is this China? Is it Bill Gates? We have no idea. And then technology. As technology advances, and that's good technology sometimes, but bad technology in other times, farms are being controlled by big corporations who control the technology. There are even kill switches that are put into the tractors in case you haven't made a payment one time. And that's a means of taking over farms. And then there's lawfare, where you have a family farm and you happen to be producing raw milk or something like that, and the feds raid it and they decide that they're going to stop it. Or big corporations put regulations in that a small farmer can't respond to. Like Monsanto, they created specialty seeds and then patented them. Now, if a neighbor farmer planted those seeds and the wind blows them onto your land, you could be liable for a patent violation. And the seeds produced from food that you grow don't necessarily belong to you. Monsanto sold to Bayer, and that's become a legal quagmire.